It strikes me that we are undergoing an epidemic of political vigilantism right now.
Here's Scott Jennings, a man who makes some sense on CNN.
I agree with you, Jonathan. I think there's some details we don't know yet, and we'll have to learn more about it. What strikes me is, first of all, it's extremely sad and unfortunate that someone died. I mean, the political fighting and disagreements aside, it's terrible. You don't want people to die in law enforcement situations or otherwise. But it strikes me that we are undergoing an epidemic of political vigilantism right now. Why are people showing up in vehicles, in convoys, not just in Minneapolis, but all over the country in an effort to obstruct lawful federal law enforcement activities? This is not an isolated incident. We have had hundreds of car rammings against ICE agents all over the country. According to DHS, this lady in this car today, along with other vehicles, had been tracking ICE agents around. Why are people believing that they can drive their car into a federal law enforcement situation and that is an appropriate thing to do? I understand they don't like the fact that these agents are enforcing existing immigration law, but that's not how we change laws in this country. If you don't like a law, you talk to the politicians. You don't drive your car into the middle of a building or a law enforcement situation that's being occupied by the people who are simply there to enforce the law. If I don't like how much the IRS is charging me in taxes, I don't drive my car into the Treasury Department and try to run somebody over. I call my congressman. Political vigilantism is being encouraged by Democratic officials like the Lieutenant Governor of Minnesota, Peggy Flanagan, who earlier this year told people to, quote, put your bodies on the line, and Tim Walz calling these guys Gestapo all year. What do you think happens when you radicalize a base of people about this?
Strike me.
Yeah, of course, everything he said there is right. Good quick reminder that had Scott Jennings on the show this week. We've released 1 or 2 clips of it right now on Rumble and YouTube, and the full thing will be up on Saturday. The point here is, guys, that they have done this, right? We're, what, a year ago? It was the Luigi Mangione, the kid who just murdered the healthcare CEO Brian Thompson in cold blood in Times Square in New York City. And many of them on the left made him a hero, or at least wouldn't condemn it. They're running around saying you've got to punch a Nazi. And it's like, well, they could just label anyone a Nazi and then they can punch you, or they can plow their car into you, et cetera, et cetera. So they have created the condition. Look what happened to Charlie. You know, I was discussing it with somebody yesterday, a friend of mine who I haven't seen in a while, and we were chatting. And it was like, what a weird freaking thing. Like, a friend of mine was assassinated. I don't even know that I've fully, even now 5 months later, even fully wrapped my brain around that. But what happened to Charlie? What happened to Charlie? Well, an activist, in this case, a trans activist who got ginned up by these very same people, murdered Charlie Kirk. And they think it's okay. So everything that Scott Jennings just said there was completely correct.